is to debunk the lunar Sabbath, he's reading Leviticus 23.
Wow.
This is like an alley hoop. Like Hassan, all I'm gonna do is
No,
I
it's like
want
him picking up a gun and he got the barrel pointing to his face, talking about "I'm gonna shoot you, nigga." And I'll say, "Go ahead and shoot." Looking like fucking Daffy Duck.
I'm just gonna put a blindfold off, come from the baseline. All you gotta do is say priest. Once you say priest, I'm already blindfolded. I'm gonna do it. 560, 660 windmill, arm through the net.
The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation. Even these are my feasts.
So the word convocation means gatherings, assemblies. Go ahead. Even these are my feasts. Go ahead, verse 3.
Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
So what you want to highlight is the word seasons in verse 4. Verse 1 to 3, the Sabbath is not seasonal. It's continuous. It's from verse 4 down where it gets seasonal. Go ahead.
What in the what? What the hell is this guy?
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honors, and all glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Double honors to my elders and my apostles of Great Millstone. They're doing their well. Peace and blessings to the elect. This is Brother Dawada from GMS Detroit Camp, coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. And today I want to do a video going in on this whole topic concerning the lunar Sabbath. All right, and Nate allegedly, supposedly calling himself debunking it, which he clearly didn't. Lord's will this to be edifying, and you heard the opening clip, all right? By the way, this will be another in transit. Lord's will this video be edifying. It is the so-called Bishop Nathaniel himself. He's bringing more confusion again, and he's notorious for bringing confusion into the congregation, all right? So now apparently, he calls himself trying to debunk the lunar Sabbath, which he can't because, the scriptures speak about the lunar Sabbath. That's when the word month goes back to the word moon. Okay, and the word week means change. What's changing? The different phases of the moon. All right, changes throughout the week. All right, we have the new moon, which is really not technically new. It's really being refreshed all over again. Same moon, but then it comes back. All right, as the new moon. So the new moon, when you look up there in the sky, you don't see no moon up there. That's the new moon. Okay. Then it starts waxing. All right. Then once it reaches a full moon, then it starts waning. It starts decreasing. And the scripture speaks about this in the book of Sirach, I want to say the 43rd chapter. All right. A light that decreaseth, which they call weaning, in her perfection. Her perfection would be the full moon. So once it reaches that full moon, then it starts to decrease again, all the way till there's no visible moon within the sky, which would be the new moon, which would also be the beginning of the next month. Okay? The moon is like a big old clock up there. All right? But here it is, leave it to Nate to make everything confusing. And now he's talking about something about, as if he's implying that the Sabbath is seasonal.
What? What the hell is this guy talking about, man? It's seasonal. What the hell is this guy talking about?
Verse 5. In the 14th day.
Let's go to this. But these guys are going to believe it because they don't have their own mind. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Somebody should need to make that what do you call that? What the fuck you call that? A voice cut.
And he's bringing this whole confusion, like he brought in with the hell doctrine, brought in confusion. Like he brought in with the whole, confusion with the MOTB. He's known for bringing more and more confusion, basically implying that the Sabbath was seasonal, right? When it means in its season, meaning in its time, right? The Sabbath has a certain time when it takes place. Like the saying, there's a time and place for anything, which they got from, Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter in the 1st verse, okay? The Sabbath has its time to take place, all right? And it goes according to the new moon, all right? There is no, the new moon is really the full moon. No, it's not. All right, you're bringing confusion, all right, amongst the flock. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is just not dealing with that.
What the hell you call it?
All right, the Heavenly Father's not dealing with these guys that are bringing in confusion amongst the flock. And they ought to know better than this. But his congregation, they're not diligent. So anything Nate says, they just follow it. All right, and that's why the Lord not looking for that. He's not looking for cheerleaders. He's looking for leaders. Not cheerleaders. He's looking for those that are actually diligent, those that are really about this thing. All right? You have Jakes that will follow the congregation, and whatever their leader says, con. No matter what they say, no matter how outlandish it is, they just believe it just because. But they don't actually research things. They don't actually look into things. They don't actually, search the scriptures. All right? Why did the Apostle Paul big up the church of Berea? Well, they searched the scriptures to see whether the things that the Apostle Paul said were so or not. So they looked it up. They didn't just believe it just because. No, they went into the scriptures. And they said, okay, look, I went into the scriptures and he was right on this. Okay. Did the Apostle Paul get offended for that? No. Instead, he praised them for looking it up. But the people within the IUIC, you have a lot of their members that don't actually look into things, because if they actually looked into things, they would have been left. They would have left the IUIC. They would have said, okay, oh no, they went off on this too. Oh no, I got to get out of here. They don't have the truth. And that's why things like this go on, and people within their congregation, they just because they're afraid. They're scared to leave. They're scared to actually, bring up how their group is going off.
Yeah, you don't need to go to the New Testament. Just deal with the Old Testament. Just deal with the Lord. I don't know why you would go.
Now I want to see if there's anything else in here.
He thinks he's cooking right now.
Luke.
In our hermeneutic bars.
Luke 22 and verse 1, please. Luke 22, verse 1. Woo.
He thinks he's cooking right now.
Luke chapter 22 and verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover.
Go back to Leviticus 23 in verse 5. I want y'all to see it's the same day. It's not one comes first, then the next day it's another holiday. That's not what it's saying. Back to verse 5 again.
Yes, sir. Leviticus.
The 14th day of the evening is a Passover. That's the night that you eat unleavened bread.
Chapter 23 and verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even.
What you want to highlight or underline is at even. Remember, it says the evening and the morning were the first day. The evening and the morning were the second day, so forth and so on. So when it says in the 14th day of the first month at even, lets you know it's the next day. What day would it be, brothers? The what? 15th. Thank you. Y'all were getting me nervous.
Again, if that's the case, he's going to have to go to all those verses that we brought out that said it's the 14th day, no evening. Let's keep going.
Go ahead.
In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
So let's go back to the map. Calendar.
You don't have to go to, like the Apostle says, there's no need for you to go to the New Testament to prove when the Sabbath was. The Old Testament gets it down packed easily. And if you needed something else to back it up, to confirm that it's, he goes by the new moon, then you just go to the book of Sirach, the 43rd chapter. That's really all you really need. But the Old Testament does a great job of just explaining what it is. What Nate's just doing is just bringing more confusion. And then if you notice how he speaks, he says, "Oh, y'all were getting me nervous." And he does the like he's like he's so deep. And what that ends up doing is congregation, they're just, oh shoot, okay, he almost lost me. Oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. They look at their leaders they're not circumspect. I'll put it like that. They're not being circumspect. They're not searching the scriptures. But whatever the guy says, they just con. And then they look at their leader as if he's, perfect. No, this guy goes off. And they hear how, definitely hear how, the different videos about, IUIC going off. I'm sure they've heard it. But once again, they're not diligent in searching the scriptures to see whether the things that are being taught are actual and factual, or if the person is going off. Let's play a little bit more, and then that'll be the video. This just goes to show you that once again, IUIC is going off.
Calendar.
That's actually a cut, Assad. Even in the KJV, the 14th day of the month at evening is the Passover. Then it says on the 15th day.
That's what I'm saying. That's why if the author of Leviticus 23 thought that the 14th that evening meant 15, why, if that's what he meant, why would he in the very next verse say, and on the 15th day? One, it's clear. He knows how to say 15. Two, he said, and, so it's talking about a completely different.
The fact that this is even being a topic or emphasized or, really trying to pick it apart, it's just more confusion. That's really not necessary. It's really not necessary. The Sabbath goes according to the new moon. Simple. And the new moon is when there's no visible moon up there within the sky. Simple. And that's it. Wisdom is supposed to be simple, right? The scriptures speak about the simplicity that is within Yahushua. This truth is supposed to be simple. It's not supposed to be this deep, elaborate mystery that can't nobody figure out. And it's not supposed to be something that takes a whole lot of figuring, like you're doing some advanced, math, or like you're trying to take apart an engine. It's not supposed to be that, all right? It's truly not supposed to be that, all right? This knowledge, this truth is really supposed to be simple. It's not meant to be something like how Nate's putting it.
Hey.
Literally, look at all the translators. And on the 15th day. Well, why didn't he say on the same day?
Exactly. That's why does he say on the same month? Because
these two are gone, man. I see, Hakar, I see Assad. I see why he was looking for the truth. He wound up in the ISUPK first, then eventually went to the Sakari. Then he had a fallout. He got kicked out by the guys. So he's confused anyway. These guys like to try to come off like they're super scholars. And for the average person that's learning this is going over people's head.
Exactly. So Nate brought his confusion with the whole, the Sabbath is not on the new. It's not the when the new moon is out there. No, that's not the Sabbath. He brought in confusion with that. Then he's bringing confusion with his sit down class on it. Then you got these two individuals, Akai and Assad. They want to be deeper than deep. That's confusing. How is this? Once again, wisdom is supposed to be simple. Wisdom is supposed to be simple. Look, this means this means that. Boom, that's it. When the apostles did their ministry, within the scriptures, or when Yahushua, when he did his ministry, he wasn't using the most, elaborate examples. No, he used things that people could relate to in everyday life, so that it would be, a simple, even though it was a parable, but the Lord used common things around at that time for people to be able to relate it to. All right? Even though the message was only for the elect, but the point being that the Lord still used everyday examples. In other words, he kept it simple. He didn't use, the most, difficult things that people never heard of at that time. A lot of his metaphors a lot of them were about farming, a lot of them were about, or involved farming, I should say. Everyday examples that people could relate to. Okay? So he kept it simple. The Apostle Paul said use few words, or how does it go? The book of Sirach speaks about using few words, but the Apostle Paul said he didn't come with enticing words of man's wisdom. The Apostle Paul kept saying that he ain't this excellent, well-spoken person that's going to use all these big and fancy words. He kept it simple.
This shouldn't take that long to give you the under. This is going into something else. Mm-hmm. The Passover. We're talking about the
exactly. Because how are we going from the Sabbath, and the understanding of the Sabbath? There we're going into we didn't transition from the Sabbath to the Passover, and from the Passover to the 14th day. Well, no, the 15th day. No, the 14th day. No, the 15th day. It's all confusion. And it's unnecessary confusion. This is why we need, this is why the Lord's going to do a house cleaning amongst those that know that they're Israelites. Right? It's too much confusion out here. All right, we'll play a little bit more, and then that'll be it.
The lunar Sabbath, I mean, you can speak on that too, but look at that, 21 minutes, and people getting, Jake got short attention spans.
It's the same month that these two festivals are taking place, but not on the same day. It would say, and on that self-same day.
Y'all hearing this nonsense? They said 14 day at evening. That means the so-called 13th day is really the 14th day. Fucking confusion, bro.
Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you don't keep it simple. Both on both sides, both Bishop Nathaniel bringing in that confusion with the whole, the Sabbath being seasonal. And then with these two, Akkad and Hassan, they're bringing their confusion, with their antics, trying to be super deep. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. You can check out the rest of the video on the Elder Apostle Harris page. All praise, honors, and glories be to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Akodash. The blindness of my apostles and elders. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.